2 weeks ago, I got this comment on the setup for my Q&A video. This is not the full comment, but this is the part that's relevant to this because I couldn't fit this section into the actual Q&A video because it would be like an extra 20 minutes, or however long this video ends up being. If you could change anything about any geeps kit, what would it be? It can be multiple different changes for multiple different geeps. So I want to do that. I wanna talk about that. Let's start with your girl, Inez. So her S1 doesn't snapshot, which sucks. Which basically means any buffs that you give for at the start of the skill will not last for the full 3 seconds. This literally only matters for IS, but the skill already sucks, and I really, really wish that it was at least good with spinach. I don't think that's too much to ask for it. Also, I want her bind to apply even if it doesn't, like, damage them. It most of the time doesn't matter, but there are a couple enemies and a couple events that have dodge chance unless they have been afflicted by CC. Most notably, Stultifera Novice, and I hate them, and I want her to be able to deal with them, because I hate them. Other than that, like, change her race from undisclosed to Cabernet, please, thank you. Then Lessing, his skill 3 has, like, a fucking 600 arts self-damage. If he uses it when he's already afflicted by a negative status, get rid of that. He doesn't need it. It isn't really a relevant drawback in most situations, and when it is, it just kind of sucks. Because you can just use the skill before he gets afflicted by it. It obviously, like, I guess it makes the timing tighter in some situations, but it mostly is just there as a tiny little extra bit of making him worse that he doesn't need. He could really use this tiny little boost. Also, I think, like, it would be kind of nice if his skill 1 worked even when he wasn't blocking anyone. Just having that up at all times so that if he kills someone and there's like a brief moment before the next enemy comes in, he can't get clipped for the full damage. I don't know. I think that'd be completely fine. Lastly, I mean, if he's a welfare operator, so I get how it be. But I'll be completely honest, I would really rather trade the improve the second talent by like 4% to just have another redeployment time minus 10 seconds. Give him a 60-second redeployment time. That would be awesome. That would make his skill 2 way better. Please. Okay. Carnelian. My only complaint about Carnelian is her second module, which isn't on global yet, but will be very soon. What it does is it boosts her SP gen talent from 0.6 seconds, or 0.6 per second, to just a full 1 per second, which in reality only makes her skills charge up around 3 seconds faster, and that is fine. That's fine, I guess, but I would much prefer if it was something like it improved her SP recovery rate by 0.4 at all times, and then an extra 0.4 when above the limit for the charge. That way, it's still boosting the second part more, but she gets, like, actually impacted by it at all. It really doesn't change much of anything. There are very, very few circumstances where having her skills up at full charge 3 seconds faster is gonna matter. The extra damage thing that it has, where she gets 3% attack for every enemy in range up to 15, is stupid, but I don't really care. It's fine. It's fine. I would love if she got a Delta module that did necrosis stuff, maybe like also like a thorns a damage reflect would be cool. You could even make it so that the damage reflect only is the part that applies necrosis. I just want the geeps to have more necrosis. I want them to have that, please. Ebenholz. I think his kit is extremely tightly made. You could maybe do a couple little buffs to mod X, but mostly I just have a bunch of changes that I'd make to skill 2. The simplest solution would be to make the summons last for like 120 seconds, like W mines. That would be really nice. A slightly cryptid solution would be to actually make them last like 4 seconds slower or less long, because as it is, because of the 13 SP charge, he will often place down his summons like a second or two before the oldest summons expire, and so he ends up with like big gaps in his deployment of them, and getting rid of that is would be really nice, and would definitely be the biggest thing they could do for him. If they didn't want to go the full 120, then bringing this up to like 40 would have the same effect and would make this much more reliable. But honestly, I think they could add a passive effect that makes it so that he only attacks elites. His summons are going to deal with pretty much anything that isn't an elite, and so having him save his charges for elites would be extremely useful. That said, I love his kit. I think he's really good. There's a lot of really cool techs that you can do with skill 3. Skill 1 is honestly really cool with his mod Y. And even with his Delta module, there's not a ton of situations where you're gonna need that, but his skill 1 isn't actually an attack down, which means that his mod, his Delta mod is going to do the full necrosis extra damage, and that is good. That's cool. That turns him into a little necrosis minigun, I guess. I don't know. Aya. Literally the only complaint I have, get rid of the random part of this. I don't think it would be insane to make her max roll every time, because a dedicated player is going to have that anyways, just by resetting over and over and over again. I just think it sucks. I think it sucks, and I think that it is definitely a remnant of being a launch operator, which is a shame, but, you know. Also, I guess, if they could make her skill 1 useful in literally any circumstance, that would be cool, because I really like it in concept, but it is always worse than skill 2. So, other Aya. I have so many issues with her existence that it's difficult for me to really list anything in particular to change. I guess the main one would just be to get rid of the global range on her skill 3. I think that that's a bit, stupid. Other than that, I kind of just wish she sucked, but there's a lot of different things that contribute to making her really strong, and each individual piece is pretty interesting, honestly. The biggest, like, nerf that they could do would be to just completely shred her first talent, because that accounts for almost half of her healing per second. But it's also, like, the first talent is what made my GTA 3 clear interesting with her, because otherwise, you know, she's just a healer. But with that, I had to make sure that I got 3 stacks on Aya when the fireballs came in, so that she could survive the whole wave. And that was really fun, getting the timing down for that. And I wouldn't want to get rid of that, because that's one of the most interesting parts of her kit. I just wish she wasn't very good. But as is, she lets me do things that I couldn't do otherwise. So I guess if I had to just pick one thing, get rid of the global range. I think it's not fun on a healer. I think it kind of sucks, and it makes positioning... Like, she already has such a huge range. She doesn't need this. She does not need this. It's already, like, it's a really good skill even without that. So, I would get rid of that. Beeswax... As much as I'd like to say that Beeswax is absolutely perfect in every way, I can't do so in good conscience. There's a very big issue with her kit that holds her back from being a perfect geep, and that lies in her skill durations. As you can see, they are 20 seconds long, both of them, and her attack interval is 2 seconds long, and you would assume that this would give her 10 ooey gooey attacks, but in reality, the animation on her attack means her 10th attack always gets cut off if she is doing attacks the entire skill duration. They fixed this with Carnelian later by making her skill 3 be 21 seconds long. But funnily enough, that's not the case with her first skill. Her first skill has the exact same issue. I mean, it sucks. I wouldn't use it anyways if it had, like, the extra attack, but I think that's really weird. Basically, just give her an extra second on her skills. That might, I guess, hypothetically mess up the timing on some stuff, because sometimes I have to use her skill, like, immediately off cooldown, but whatever. Give her that so that she can get that extra attack. She needs it. Chat, she needs it. Diamante, I don't have any issues with him specifically. I have issues with primal casters. I've said this before, just give all primal casters the IS4 talent that Valarkfin has, and just make them deal like 30% of their attack as their element's damage. Make that their fucking trait. It says can inflict elemental damage. Like, I just make that part of it. I don't know. If you just gave them that 30%, Diamante would actually be, like, pretty good. With his 668 attack, with fully maxed out, he would deal exactly 200 necrosis with every attack, which means he would proc it on normal enemies in 5 hits, and on bosses in 10, and I think that's completely fine. It would also, like, I haven't done the math on what it would do with his skill 1, but that would just be nice, and with his skill 2, like, it just, please, it would just make him genuinely a lot better. Obviously, this isn't gonna happen, but I believe that they could do this for the module. They could even make it be affected by res. It could be the same as, like, how this works. It's percent of the art's damage. That would be fine. He would, like, with module, with the extra attack, he'd probably apply to most enemies in, like, 6 hits if it was affected by res, and that's fine. Please let him do anything. Please. With Bena, I don't really have any realistic changes I'd make. She's really solid in every way. You could maybe buff up her module to make it just, like, a little bit more. It really, like, it's only a 5% increase to the damage reduction, but the extra, like, 20% HP on the substitute means that it is genuinely a pretty big increase to the doll's survivability, but you could do something with that, but I'm mostly fine with it. Other than that, though, I mean, like, I want to provide some possible things, so I guess just, if they gave her a Delta module, which of course they won't, but if they gave her a Delta module that made Annie, the doll, apply necrosis, and then Bena did extra damage to enemies afflicted with necrosis, that'd be really cool. Again, never gonna happen, but, you know, it's a neat idea. Earth Spirit is actually the perfect geep. There's literally nothing that I could possibly change about how she works and what she does. The literal only problem, and this is barely a problem, this doesn't matter, this doesn't affect her, her module makes her talent have like no space here. Please fix that. This is an actual like request. Like please, it would be really easy. Please just add a space there. That would be really nice. And then I guess that's it. I mean, like, there's not really any other Could you imagine if her skill 1, Degenbreaker's skill 1, had the extra, like, to increase talent activation rate to 100%, like, oh my god, and then, like, if that was on her skill 1, right, her disarm lasts 5 fucking seconds for some reason, so with her 1.3 attack interval, she would have, with skill 1, fully mastered, it charges in 3 attacks, she would do the disarm every 5.2 seconds, which would give enemies exactly 0.2 seconds to deal with her, and I think it would be really funny if in, like, 3 years, when her skill 3 is completely useless, like, everyone is sick of it, somebody realizes, wait, she has, like, the best stall game in the entire fucking world. Why has nobody realized that her skill 1 is insane? And then, you know, you get videos about it, and it's like, wow, is the worst operator of all time actually good now again? Because power creep is fucking base, dude, and they're gonna give modules to, like, they're gonna give modules to, like, all the worst operators than her. She's gonna be the worst operator in the game eventually. It's gonna be insane, dude. She's gonna suck. I don't know. Give her that. Do it. Why not? Why not? Give it.